It's Grok Talk. We are back. Mike doesn't have his headphones on. Thank you very much to Max Abramson for coming in this morning. Calling in, sorry. If things are a little sketchy today, we're having some technical problems. Your cord's wrapped around your microphone. But we don't have a problem with Jane Cormier, who's on the line. Hi, Jane. How you doing? Jane, you there? Oh, I pushed the button. There we go. Try that. Okay. See.
And Jane is helping to beat our technical glitches because she dialed us. And
yes.
we're ahead of the game there, Jane.
We're fumbling around here this morning. Things keep disconnecting. We have problems getting the jingle box to work. We're having issues with the camera. Everything, and then of course we're trying to adjust minutes before the show starts for just an audio live stream, and then the camera starts to work again. So I got to go back and set that back up. And it's been an interesting morning, but we won't bother you with our troubles. Let's talk about life, shall we?
Sure, let's talk about life. That's always a good thing in my book. There is so much going on with New Hampshire to life right now. I'm happy to say that we're more than active these days, and we have a couple of things I really wanted to throw by the folks that are happening this week, especially. A bill called SB 40, which is a fetal homicide bill, Senate bill, is going to be heading over to the Senate. It's been amended by the House. The bill is really, SB 40 was a watered-down version of a really good fetal homicide bill passed by the House this session called Griffin's Law, or HB 560. So we had two bills, and we have to try to push through the bill that really deserves to be on the books here in New Hampshire. And so the amended SB 40 is heading over to the Senate, we think, this week. Actually, you know what? It just passed in the House committee, so it's probably going to hit the House first this Wednesday, because it's going to have to be hitting the House since it was amended. So I misspoke. So The representatives this week are going to take up the amended SB 40, and we want to make sure that folks call their representatives to make sure they pass this bill. It's 8 weeks, and it gives an effective and a legal standing justice for the preborn child that would be killed during a criminal act.
And it's pretty specific, right? I mean, it is. I mean, you know, the problem that we've seen, and I think I sent you a link about a similar bill in Colorado where the abortion activists are like, this is a personhood bill, this is a personhood bill. And, you know, their fear is that once you declare personhood, obviously they get full constitutional protections, and then they're up a creek without a paddle. This is really, it specifies criminal behavior, correct?
Absolutely, and in fact, in the House bill that was passed, which I think is mirrored in the SB 40 amended bill, it specifically says this does not pertain to abortion.
Okay.
I mean, you couldn't be any more specific if you tried. And those that want to conflagrate the issue, it is not the issue. We are trying to address the fact that if a preborn child is killed during a criminal act, that family and that child deserve to have some sort of justice, certainly a recognition of the existence of that child. So this amended SB 40 that's hitting the House this week, really, call your representatives. Call Senator Regina Virgil.
Birdsall?
Who was Regina Virgil was the prime sponsor of the SB 40, which was the watered-down version of fetal homicide. It was a fetal homicide bill that hurts us more than do anything to help us. That's how nebulous it was. That's how you simply couldn't litigate the bill as written in SB 40 before it was amended. So we're asking Senator Birdsall to stand by the amended version of this bill when it hits the Senate, because we assume it will hit the Senate.
You and I were talking on email about this the other day, and we will definitely try to motivate some folks to call into the Senate. And we were having some discussions about the motivation for this, and the problem appears to be that if the watered-down version gets passed, it'll be very, very difficult, if not impossible, to make a meaningful change to existing legislation if this becomes law. So we want to try to pass the right bill the first time and not have to screw around for the next 20 years trying to fix it.
There's 6 words in this bill that Senator Birdsall put in that was at the end of the bill. You almost missed it. In fact, I've spoken to many co-sponsors that didn't see the sentence. That's how it was. And the sentence is this. This is the the highest barrier that you have here. It says, quote, capable of sustained extrauterine viability.
Right, so it has to be... You have
what
to
is
be able
that?
to, yeah, and that's as nebulous as when does life begin, as far as quite a few people are concerned.
Yeah, how long?
Totally.
How long is how long? That's the question.
How long is how long? Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And what's viability?
Depends on what
right?
the definition of is, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those.
None of us are viable if we're not given water in 4 days. It's just not going to happen. You know.
So what does it mean? Right. You're absolutely right. Crazy bill. So we're really frightened that if this bill passes, it offers cover for those that really don't want a fetal homicide bill. And then when the life group goes back to the table and says, we want to make this bill better, the response is going to be to us, well, you already have a fetal homicide bill. We don't need to talk about this.
Yeah,
no, this is a bad fetal homicide bill.
Yeah, this is almost the same kind of situation as we saw in Indiana, where I think the Republicans tried to do the right thing for religious freedom and then ended up caving and made things worse than they were before the bill got sponsored.
Yes.
Yeah, and now everybody knows they'll cave, so...
Yeah.
Well,
the thing is New Hampshire Right to Life will not cave. And I think that this is probably something that is part of the dialogue that we're going to take up. We would rather have nothing on the books than to have such a terrible bill sitting there, or law sitting there. So that's why it's so important. The amended language goes back to the Griffin's Law, which is Rep. Rideout's bill, which is a great bill, starts at 8 weeks. And, you know, it's very simplistic, one-page bill, right? And says right in it, does not cover any abortion, okay? Could not be clearer. We want that language in SB 40, and we hope that that's going to happen.
Hey, Jane, quick question for you. Is this part of the process of the GOP, especially the NHGOP, trying to divest themselves from basically playing with those icky social issues? You know, they hate it. They only want to deal with what they call the fiscal issues. Not that they've done such a great job at that either. You know, Maggie Hassan wanted $1 billion more in the budget. Well, the Republicans, we're only going to raise it up $500 million. You know, such as that. And they never seem to understand. Every social issue has a fiscal cost. And as Andrew Breitbart said, politics is downstream from culture. And yet they just don't seem to understand. Why should we fight for them when they won't fight for us?
I think that what you're talking about politically with the vessel of the GOP is sort of where the entire country is right now, and that is the lack of desire to stand behind what you know is a principle that you should be supporting, right? And I think that when you have a culture that's trying to do the easy thing or the thing that will serve whatever purpose that's on the table thing, then you don't end up standing for the principle of the thing. And we have to all get back to just stiffening our back and saying, stop. This was the question. This is the principle we should follow, and we should fight for that principle. We should fight for the principle because that's all we have at the end of the game. That's it.
Okay.
So I'm and I don't care what the political parties are saying anymore. I mean, the truth is, morally speaking, we do have a conception of what is probably the right thing to do. And politically speaking, you don't. Political speak is all about something else. We should head toward what the right thing to do here. And in this bill specifically, fetal homicide, it's a disgrace that New Hampshire is one of 3 states that has nothing on the books. That's a disgrace to this state. And it needs to be rectified, and we need the right bill. We need the right law.
All right. What else we got on life? Anything else in the legislature? We only have 3 minutes, so.
Okay, 3 minutes. Well, the big thing is New Hampshire Right to Life this week put out a presser saying that we are actually working with the Alliance Defending Freedom to file a Supreme Court, suit, which is basically New Hampshire Right to Life versus the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. And this addresses the 2011 event where our executive council rejected a Title X grant, and the government through HHS subverted that and brought in a sole non-competitive grant to Planned Parenthood of New England. And so we have been trying for years to get information pursuant to that, and it's been very difficult. Recently in February, the First Court, Circuit Court, I believe, said that they weren't going to support our suits, so we have taken it to the Supreme Court. And we're going to fight at the Supreme Court that Americans deserve to know what taxpayer dollars are being spent for. There should be accountability and transparency, and we're going to see what we can do about fighting for that.
That's a good plan right there, and sounds expensive.
Well, you know what? Like I said, principle counts, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
don't forget, no taxpayers are going to be paying for this one. So
that's true.
This is one that we will fight for to the end until they have shut the door. And there is some real positive optimism here that the Supreme Court will hear this case because the pieces of information that we have that have been released subsequently are really, really damning in my mind. I mean, they show a real effort to hide the truth from the folks, and that's not what our government should be doing.
All right, cool.
All right,
Let me
and
just
don't
see.
forget, next Saturday, I have to put out there, May 2nd, 9 till 11:30. Come and see us. Come and see us at our open house. New Hampshire Right to Life is having an open house. We'll have information on new endeavors. We're going to have some great food, fellowship. It will be a fun time to come up and see what New Hampshire Right to Life is all about. 8 North Main Street at our new location. So I want to get that in, too.
All right, thanks, Jane. Appreciate your time. You have a good weekend.
Okay. You too. Thanks.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, thanks to Jane. Important stuff. SB 40, Rep. Birdsall, and Sumter Senator, State Senator Birdsall, Regina, who I know, in the New Hampshire Senate. And so look her up on the General Court. We'll publish some information on Granite Rock so that you'll be able to contact her and reach out and give you some information. You can talk to her about this bill and why we don't want it watered down. Coming up next, Ed Nail, who's in the room. And you want to talk, Ed, so I can see if I get the right mic?
I'm here in the room.
Right, I got the right microphone because we've been...
Not a lot of room in the room anymore.
Not a lot of room in the room, no. But we're going to make some room and talk about some cornucopia of vote fraud / domicile-related issues in the next segment. After that, Kimberly Morin, and I'm still trying to find out if she's coming in or calling us. She hasn't responded to my email yet. We'll be right back. This is Grok Talk. Stay tuned.
Hi, this is Rich Gerard, host of Gerard at Large in the Morning, the Manchester area's only locally owned, locally operated, focused, and interested, riveting radio show, heard live every Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 on 90.7 FM WLMW, New Hampshire Family Radio, and available 24/7 live or archived at GerardAtLarge.com. Be sure to tune in.